welcome. I'm Amy Zielinski for Ageless Conception, and the work we'll be doing today is on preparing our temple. I love to use that word temple that Michelle is using in our title today because it really attunes us to the sacredness of our physical world. And that's what we're talking about today, preparing our physical world for conception, for pregnancy, for welcoming a child into our lives, and for parenting. And I know that sounds like a lot. Fortunately, the work that we do to prepare our temple for each of those bits is all the same. And it's ongoing work. It's not to be done in one day. It involves a lot of clearing out of what is not necessary and maybe what's not helpful, as well as nurturing what's already in our physical space so that it becomes even more fertile for conception, pregnancy, or whatever way we welcome our child, and parenthood. I'm going to do a little visualization in just a moment to really tap into our essence and ask, what do I need to do to prepare my temple? But first I want to expand this idea of temple so that we are using it in its broadest sense. A lot of times when we talk about preparing our temple, especially in regard to conceiving and carrying, delivering, welcoming a baby, we're talking about our physical body. What do we need to do to prepare our physical body for these processes? That's definitely a really important part. So one thing that we'd like to do is to nourish our physical bodies well. Give them whatever nutrients they need, whatever nourishment they need. And for this, I'm going to ask you to consult your inner knowing. There's lots and lots of material out there about the best foods and the best exercise and how much this and how long that. It's all great information, but it might not all apply to you. So every time you get more information about what to do with this body to make it better able to conceive or carry a child or to make you stronger as a mom, take it in and then decide what's there for you. And another thing we need to do in our physical form is create space. We need to create space in our physical form. For this, you'll need to do some of the work that we'll talk about in discovering my shadows and clearing my path. So all of the different topics in this portion of the website are interrelated. Really, really important to work with all of them in a very fluid manner. So first we're looking at our physical body. How do we make it best able to conceive a child, to carry a child, if that's the way that our child is coming into our lives, or best able to receive a child from another place? And then how do we prepare this body for parenthood? Some of you already have children, so how do we prepare this body for the life-changing arrival of the second or third or 10th child? This body changes every time. We want to make sure to prepare that. So we'll work on that first of all in our visualization. But we're getting it even bigger and bigger because this, our womb space, if we indeed are going to have our children in this way, this is going to be the home of our child as he or she grows. But that's not the only home, right? It doesn't just end with this physical form. So I want you to really expand what you think of as your temple and broaden your awareness to include all of the spaces in which your child will grow. So that's your physical home. It takes a lot of thought to prepare a home for a baby. If you look around in magazines and you go to stores, you'll begin to think perhaps that it takes a lot of stuff to prepare a home for a baby. That's not really true. What's true for you, again, we'll find out from your inner self. We're going to do a little work to find that. I'll share with you a really wonderful story that changed the way I was thinking about preparing my home for my child. When I was pregnant with my first child, I had a little bit of that, I have to get this, I have to do this. I looked in my magazines and they had checklists of everything I needed for the baby. And every time I read them, I felt agitated and there was more to get and more to buy and more to do. And I remember sharing that with a friend of mine whose son was at that point 20, this lovely man. He had grown into a wonderful, wonderful young man. He was in fact a student of mine, so I got to see what a wonderful job she did parenting him. And she told me, Amy, when I got pregnant with him, I had no money. She was a single mom. She had none of the checklists filled out for having a baby. And she said, when I brought him home from the hospital, I put him in a dresser drawer lined with blankets that my friends had donated to the cause. And look at him now. He's 20 years old and he's a great guy. That so helped me really pause and think, oh, my being knows how to take care of this child, and I have lots of really great supportive people like this friend of mine. I need to tap into their knowing rather than lots of the knowing out there that was making me feel agitated. And you'll know for you, what do you need to do to prepare your home? Some of it's very physical. You might need to move furniture. You might need to purchase a few things. A lot of what you do to prepare your home, that part of your temple for this time, involves filling it with the kind of love and energy you want. That's true of your body as well. So remember, we're working with the temples that are going to house our children, our body, our home. Also another temple, another larger temple, I see them as kind of concentric circles getting ever larger. Another large temple is the community. What do you need to prepare yourself in terms of your community for conceiving a baby and carrying a baby and raising a child? This temple and these different temples are not just the temples where your child will be housed and raised. And this is something that I like to remind myself a lot, and so I'll remind you. And that is that your child isn't the only being that's growing and being nurtured within these temples. You yourself are changing. Becoming a parent, whether it's for the first time or the 10th, involves drastic change to who you are, draws drastic change to your lifestyle. And for all of this, you need nurturing too. You're going to grow within those concentric circles, those temples, those ever larger temples. So we want to prepare your body for this transition into parenthood for you. We want to prepare your home for that same transition. And we want to prepare the community around you. All right, it sounds so daunting to think of all of those things in your mind. It might be like mine was when I looked at the magazine about the space I needed to create for my baby. You might be thinking of checklists, and that's why we're going to go into a visualization. Our left brain likes to make lists and plan, and that's the one that might be activated right now. What we want to do for this work is to tap into our deeper sense of knowing, and that is contained and communicated to us through our hearts, our physical body, and through our right brain. What that means is that in order to connect with this priceless information, this wisdom that goes well beyond what the list makers in our heads can come up with, the best ways don't involve that left brain at all. So dreaming is really important here, doing artwork in order to open up and ask questions and answer questions. Getting out and moving your body, swimming or running or doing yoga, letting your body become forefront in your experience, and then asking, how do you want to be prepared? What would best nurture you to create the temple that would nourish my child and me? And another way to tap into all of these other deeper parts of knowing is through visualization. And so working with me, you'll do those a lot. Visualizations doesn't take anything at all. I guide you. And I want to say at the forefront before this visualization that our minds, that list maker part of our minds, don't like to be turned off sometimes. So when we go into the other knowing parts of us, our minds sometimes become really active. This is good preparation for being a mom too, because they remind me of toddlers, the mind. Wait, what about me? You forgot about me. You have to pay attention to me. So if that happens to you during any visualization, any artwork, any work you're doing that is opening, if you find your mind become really active, that's totally okay. In fact, it's really normal. And it's possible to have your mind continually going and still have the experience of receiving wisdom and gifts from other parts of your being. So I say that not to frighten any of us, just to make sure we're all comfortable saying, okay, mind, I hear you, and I'm paying attention to these other aspects of my being right now. Also, when we do visualizations, it's important to be open to information as it comes in any way. It might come in as pictures. You might have a memory. You might have a physical sensation in your body. You might have emotion arise. I hear songs a lot. You might hear words. You might just have kind of an inner knowing. All of those are valid, equally valid and important. So right now, before we begin the visualization, you might want to pause the recording, grab a notebook and a pen so you can just jot down everything that comes in. And my invitation is to do this visualization again and again. And you'll see that some information will repeat itself, particularly when we're not paying attention to it. It will repeat itself and get a little more loud, probably. And then sometimes if you're doing this throughout the course of a couple months, information will shift because your body will shift, your home will shift, your community will shift in response to all of the things you're doing. So as you open, you'll be given more and more guidance to continue on this path of preparing your temple. All right, so grab something to write with and something to write on. Come back and sit comfortably with your eyes closed, and we'll begin to get information about how to best prepare our temples for this amazing experience. Good, so closing your eyes and breathing way down deep into your abdomen. In fact, putting your hands over your womb space to make sure that you're focusing your air, all your breath, way down into this space. And so when you take a breath in, you should feel your belly expand, get bigger like a balloon. And when you exhale, it will fall. A few breaths into this womb space, this sacred temple that is the home not only for babies, but for all things that we help to birth in this lifetime. Creative projects, plans, ideas. They're all nourished and nurtured from this part of your being, this womb space. So breathing into that area. Good, and now putting one hand on your heart. This is also a place of incredible nourishment, both for our children and for ourselves. imagine that you are out in nature somewhere. Your own sacred spot. Maybe it's a place you've been to many, many times, or maybe it's purely a place that exists in your imagination. Either way is okay. Allow your being to show you this place. And use your imagination to make it really real by making the colors really vibrant. Imagining what you can hear or what you can smell in this place. And just begin to walk along one portion of this sacred space, remembering that this is yours and yours alone. No one else is here. It's safe and it is sacred. Good. And as you walk along a path, you'll see a bridge in front of you, a small footbridge that's over a stream. I'd like you to go cross that footbridge. And when you pass over to the other side of the bridge, we're now in the place of community. So everything that you see around you is information, is a little gift for you. It tells you how to prepare your temple in terms of community. Your mind doesn't need to know how to do this, your being does. So walk along this space, this land, just taking in information. There might be things that you need to add that are shown to you. There might be things you need to take away, changes you need to make in terms of community to prepare for this coming child. Taking in all the information about how to prepare the community part of your temple for conception. How to make yourself more fertile, most fertile, in terms of community. Beautiful. And as you're walking now, you notice a gate in front of you. There's a wall, a stone wall, and there's a gate doorway in front of you. Enter through that gateway into a different piece of land. And this area symbolizes your home. Again, just walk around. You can touch things if you like. You can listen. You can sit down. Just take in any information in this area that signifies how to best prepare the home part of your temple for conception. And just take in all the information, however it comes, releasing any thoughts and judgments that the mind is presenting. storing that information away, putting it in your pocket for later. Again, this place represents your home, your physical home, in any ways you can best prepare it as part of a temple. Wonderful. Next, notice there's a small structure in the center of this place. Walk to it and walk around it. This structure represents the temple that is your body, your physical form, your soul's address in this lifetime. And just walk around the outside at first, taking note of the condition of this temple. No judgment. There's nothing to change in this moment. This is just an exploration. Slowly walking and looking at this structure, noticing things that might need to be removed, noticing if there are repairs to be made, or perhaps there is space that either needs to be planted with something or needs to be nurtured in some way. And once you've walked around the perimeter of the building, you can go ahead and go inside. Remembering that this building is symbolic of your physical form, the temple that is your body, and asking the question of this place, how can I best prepare you to conceive, carry, welcome, and raise another being? Just with curiosity and openness, begin to explore this place that is your physical form, your temple. Wonderful. Taking in all of that information, storing it away for later. When you're ready, you can leave each of these places one by one. So going to the door of the building that represents the temple of your body, offering gratitude as you depart. And next, approaching the gate in the wall that surrounds the temple of your home, and offering gratitude for this place and for any information you received here. And lastly, walking to the footbridge and turning around, offering gratitude for the land that represents the temple of your community. Making your way back along your path, knowing that you can come back here whenever you like. It's your sacred space, your place to hear wisdom and get in touch with your deepest knowing about preparing your temple. Good. Bringing your awareness back to your own physical form. Breathing once again into heart. Breathing into your womb space. Coming present in this time and this place. And gently opening your eyes. So this was just an introduction. I invite you to go back again and again to these exact places and ask those questions. How do I best prepare you? It might be beneficial to do it every single morning. Just, what do I need to do, body? What do I need to do today to best prepare you for ageless conception? community or home, go back again and again and really open to the wisdom of the temples that already exist. It is my deepest hope that each of us honors our temples, whether we use them to conceive children or artwork. Whatever we do with these beautiful temples, may we all honor them. May all beings be blessed by these wonderful, beautiful places we call home in this lifetime. Namaste.